there is so much from my youth that the time that I grew up, I was born in 1962. I'm ancient that way. I'm lucky. I avoided being a boomer just because I was born at the late stage of the boomer stuff.
So basically, I was thinking that maybe, and hear me out on this, maybe we could try not doing the wrong thing and instead maybe try doing the right thing this time.
Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day, son of a gun. Second or third day, can't remember now, where I'm taking Strattera for my ADHD, and so far I am very, very impressed with the results. I have been having to struggle to remember things the night prior if I want to remember it the next morning, where I have to think about it hard, all the way until I go to bed, and then the next morning hope that I can remember. Stuff that I thought about last night, I didn't work at trying to remember, and when I woke up this morning, things just flowed right back into my head. Oh my goodness. So I'm taking my Strattera with half a guanfacine tablet, and then 12 hours from now I'm going to take another half of a guanfacine to try and keep my blood pressure down, because unfortunately Strattera does raise my blood pressure. Yay. But still, front-loading of videos, thumbs up for that. Hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that too would be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, I really enjoy them. I try to answer as many as I can. And hey, I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons, these literally beautiful and literally awesome people whom hopefully I'm going to be able to get to and update this list very soon with my re-medicated brain. Should be able to do that. I thank you. My pets thank you. It is very cool and awesome. We all enjoy metabolizing. If you'd like to become a patron, there are links in the video description, wherever that happens to be for your device. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, there is the PayPal link. And I went through and updated my Amazon wishlist link to have a ton of cat food on there. So if you could check it out, that would be very, very awesome. Thank you very much. And front loading of videos over. Oh boy. So yes, it is nice to be medicated. There are side effects. There are side effects. I mean, number one, blood pressure. So I gotta really keep an eye on that. Number two, it kills my sense of hunger. I have to remember to eat, otherwise I'm not going to. And while that's good to some degree, I can still afford to lose weight. I want to lose weight because I want to do it for me, and I want to do it sensibly, not just because I don't eat. So we're gonna be watching that one as well. There are a few other side effects that I need to keep an eye out for. Dry mouth, constipation. I just have difficulty with urination, but so far that's it. I can empty my bladder and it just takes a little extra work, but I can live with a little extra work. One of the other sad parts is, good thing I do not have a partner, but I am pretty much numb and dead from the knees up and the navel down. Everything there is just for the simple act of getting rid of bladder fluids at the moment. So luckily I don't have a partner to disappoint in that fashion. Life is life, isn't it? You gotta love medicine side effects. Still, being able to think is awesome. Oh my God. Yesterday took 24 hours out of 24 hours to go by. I had some major sleeping issues, and the day still took forever to go by. That's awesome. Because normally if I fall asleep, I start getting time blind from 12 noon onward. So the days are short anyway, and falling asleep, a 6-hour period from noon till 6 o'clock feels like it's only 1 or 2 hours. This was 6 hours. Even if I fell asleep for a half hour, it was like, oh, wow. Oh, it's only 1 o'clock. Cool. And then jump right back into things. This is how a normal brain should function. This is how I was on Ritalin. I'm working my way up. I don't know how far I'm going to get. I don't think it's going to work as much as Ritalin, but it's still good. I'm like here-ish. And I was here and sinking, and here's where my brain normally works. So, this is nice. I really like being able to think. I have valued my brain as much as possible my entire life without knowing how handicapped and crippled I was. Hokey smokes, the things I could have been, the person I could have been, but at the same time, there is so much from my youth that the time that I grew up, I was born in 1962. I'm ancient that way. I'm lucky. I avoided being a boomer just because I was born at the late stage of the boomer stuff. They consider you to be a boomer if you were born up to 1964. I was born in 1962. But I was raised with all the next Gen Xers. I was not raised as a boomer, so I don't think like one, thank God. But still, now I can't even remember what I was talking about. So my brain is not working perfectly, and hopefully it will get there soon. But for right now, I'm just railing and ranting about age and not being able. Oh yeah, had I been treated. They did not treat a lot of things very well, and still don't here in the United States when it comes to mental issues, no matter what the issue. So had I been identified as an autistic person as a child, I do not think the results would have been good. So as bad as things have been for me, considering the United States, considering the time I grew up, probably a better result that I wasn't identified. I probably would have ended up really crippled by the American education system. So thumbs up for that. Still though, life is life. I played some video games, I watched videos, I listened to music, I fell asleep a lot. Never for great amounts of time. I don't think it was anything more than like 15 or 20 minutes, maybe a half hour at most, but it did happen. And then I went for walkies, and it was a good walkies. I enjoy walking. Something I never thought I would do, because even 5 years ago going out for walkies, I was working on, well, not 5 years ago, from 2015 earlier, I did not exercise. I was a wreck because I was worrying about my wife and not my own health. I ballooned up anywhere during the time of my marriage from 240 to 290 was my weight, so I was heavy. And then after my wife died, I ballooned up to 325. So the fact that I'm struggling to keep my weight right around 200 at times bothers me because I don't want to go back to those heavy times. Yay. Now, where all that came from, I don't know. Now, I do want to talk about, this is one thing. In fact, it's two things I'm going to talk about because they're on my topics list. Number one, I had a bit of nostalgia. Because I mentioned being born back in the 60s. When I was a kid, one of the very few things that I remember from my youth is we had as a Christmas tree one of these artificial type aluminum foil type things, whether it was reflective plastic, which they didn't have a ton of plasticky stuff back then. They did, but not the sophisticated type of plastics we have now. It was a silvery artificial tree that you would put together and then bend the branches out, and it just reflected. It was just bright silver. But we had a color wheel, which it has 4 colors on it, and there's 4 triangles of color. You could arrange those in any order you wanted, and then there were little metal clips that would hold them in place, and then you took this disc of color, put it onto this, it was almost like a slow fan, except instead of a fan, it had a motor that would spin the spindle, and then there was a big light bulb underneath it. And then you would take your big plastic disc, put it onto the spindle, use a little wing nut thing to hold it on, and then it would just slowly crank and turn the big plastic disc, and then the light bulb down there would just shine the light through the plastic onto whatever you wanted. Like the current time things where you put the machine on your yard and it puts up like laser reflections, optical things up on your house, so like ghosts or stars like that. Except this was just a plastic disc being turned by a motor with a light bulb. And then if you had a tree like ours, it would turn the whole tree colors. And I was walking by one of these junk stores on my Walkies last night, and in the window there was a color wheel, just like the one I had as a kid. And I was just flooded with nostalgia at that moment. remembering the color wheel, almost wanting to buy it. What would be the point? So, thumbs up, but nostalgia can sometimes be nice. Normally I hate it, because most of the things are from people that are gone, places that I can no longer visit, situations that can never be repeated, and it's painful. But occasionally, hey, that's a nice little memory. So thumbs up on that. And then, let's see what else there is. Oh, I can't remember if I talked about this one now, but I'm going to. There was something that... There is a constant bickering in the U.S. on the right can't meme and not having a sense of humor, and the left can't meme because they're not supposed to have a sense of humor. The problem is the right on the U.S. generally doesn't have a sense of humor. They are reactionary and largely being controlled by fear and such, and don't have a great sense of humor. Check right-wing humor. Unless you're part of the actual bubble that you're in, you're going to find right-wing humor to be... well, that just not funny. It's not even good dad jokes, but it's stuff that even boomers have been laughing at for like 50 years and more. The humor has been sucked out of it through time and repetition. And so, I mean, the left, there's people that aren't funny on the left, of course. Good Lord. But when you're not being reactionary, you have time to actually think and be funny. Whereas when you're just doing 2 minutes hate for the day, as evidenced by, there's this show on the right now that a lot of people have been making fun of called The Left Can't Meme. And what was this all about? Well, normally when the left does The Right Can't Meme, they show a bunch of memes done by the right and why it's not funny. The Left Can't Meme was a bunch of right-wing memes done by right-wing people. And they weren't funny. They were the same joke. There was all this, these screaming liberal faces that they like to use. In like 10 memes, they used one face over 65 times. And every single meme was a variation of one joke. There was like a picture of Donald Trump and then all these screaming liberal heads, and then a picture of Elon Musk and a picture of screaming liberal heads, except again 10 of memes, 65, so they'd have the same head all the way through it. And then the guy going, oh yes, and so of course there's the screaming reface on the rocket. That'll never stop being funny. That stopped being funny about the first month after you were using it. The fact that you can't let go of something that isn't funny because it's the same joke all the time. Yeah, the right can't meme. Life is life. That's the last of the recent events for the day because I want to talk about greatest stuff and what little time I have left. One of the things that I've got with Utokk that I've been dealing with is I have thought of, back when they were immature, they had played with the human shells that they make. Right now there is human shells that like when they're talking with the King in Crimson, that is one of the human bodies that they built up from the molecules, up. And each body has a slot and a socket. And the socket they can pop in like a tentacle, and then they're experiencing the world through that body. Amelia, please stop digging. Just do what you gotta do and don't dig. There's also a slot. And what this is, effectively a slot, Utokk can take a ball of their own energy and wad it into that slot. And unless it reaches a certain point, that just runs the body as if it was a battery in a toy robot. But if you hit a certain point, then that spot, that battery generates the quantum tunneling that we get through intelligence. They become a person if you pop in enough power into that body through the battery. So Utokk is fascinated by these beings because the patterning is right on top of that wad of energy that they push in. And the patterning goes into, draws up, and makes Utokk's own energy a part of the pattern that is formed. And Utokk is fascinated by this because the quantum tunneling, quantum knotting that is there, that generally indicates prey, not self. But the wad of energy and the unique individualized pattern that forms through the quantum knotting also says not self. So there's not self and self together. Part of him going into a being that is now its own being. Now, what does that sound like to a biological being where there is now a new creature that you have helped create, where part of your energy and physical essence is helping to form who they are? Yeah, so Utokk is discovering that by going squidge and putting that in enough, they become people that are both self and not self, not prey, but not their own. Utokk does not feel love or liking or anything that we would normally feel, but only because our frames of reference are so far. We say they don't feel that. Utokk, looking at us, would say we don't feel what they feel. We don't feel love. We don't feel affection because what we're doing is just simple chemical electrical mockings of real emotions. So neither side would really see what each other is seeing as actual affection and such. So while we don't generally identify what they're experiencing as love or such, they feel very protective of these beings, and it's a very, very large surprise to Utokk. They don't appear to be children, but they are more than happy to become their father. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab, and I'm going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce or use the name, no disrespect is intended, and even though I count American Sign Language, that's going to take a while before the new meds really get my brain working fully and functionally. You've already seen me forget things a couple times, so if I get lost while I'm counting, my sincere apologies. Let me call up my Chrome. We have Zen, thumbs up and thank you. Jesse Koskinen. The Glarthier thing was silly but sad. Poor little guy. I didn't actually think he was going to get murdered. Flora Mew, hey, good to see you in the comments again, and I hope you can catch up, but don't drive yourself crazy. Justina Lightbringer, thumbs up, then thank you. And then we have, excuse me, Eric Southard, greatly appreciated. Rainy Toaster, greatly appreciated. Emiliano Herrera Orozco, thumbs up, thank you very much, and hopefully I came close. Kryptonite, I will check that out, and it is good to see you in the comments. I enjoy seeing names that I recognize because they've been there, like Jay. Am I double counting? I don't know, but thumbs up, thank you, and good to see you in the comments. We have Didrick444, thumbs up, thank you very, very much. Ben B, greatly appreciated. We have Wasabi Covered Nuts. I still like that name. Thumbs up, thank you. Psycho Jazz, greatly appreciated. We have Lucas, thumbs up, thank you very, very much. And that is it. Approximately 14 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. It is greatly appreciated to get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only for a very short time, and if only in text. But it is appreciated to no end. Thank you. Well, son of a gun, it being a weekend now, I think it's Saturday, there is not a whole lot that I can try to do to get, official things done. So it's going to be a lazy weekend for me, and hopefully it'll be a lazy weekend for you, wherever you are, whatever your culture, no matter where you are in the world. And of course, if you can't get the things done you would like to get done, do not beat yourself up. Positive nihilism, nothing matters. Eventually you are going to die. Everyone that knows you will die. Our civilization will die. Our planet will die. Our sun, our galaxy, our universe. Everything fades. Nothing matters except for how we treat each other. And of course, here in the United States, the covfefe bug is raging and spiking hard. So please, take precautions. Do not throw your body onto the corpse pile. We've had over 1 million dead in the United States so far. Holy smokes! Do not throw your body onto the corpse pile before it's your time. And don't make it your time. Take your precautions, get your vaccinations, get boosted. Be careful, be smart. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. Now, I quite frankly do think that is a very good idea.